drama.
We see a lot of that lately. And I hate that. I hate the tell-all, go on a live stream, go on a video, cry about someone you used to know, cry about this or that. I used to be all on board with this thing. I used to be all on board with this person, but now I'm not. And now I'm going to air their dirty laundry. Now I'm going to throw them under the bus. Now I'm going to empower myself by being the witness and being the accuser. Like Satan, by the way, the accuser. And so anyway, I hate that. I hate when people do that. But here's my point. They all have the same thing in common, which is this. The witness, the teller, the accuser, is exculpated from, that's what they're exculpated. I was going to say exculpated from guilt, but that's what the word means. They're exculpated by the fact that they are stupid and that they are ignorant. That is what they all have in common. Because you might look at a person like Lauren Southern, and the sort of, natural question is, okay, you worked with all these people. You worked with all these people for years.
Oh, shit.
You promoted them. You were associated with them publicly. You did business with them. And you haven't said anything for years. And so the question is, so what gives you the right to sit here now and point the finger and place the blame? Why are you innocent? Why should we listen to you? Lauren Southern is going to come out here in 2022 and say, well, Milo did this and Paul did that and this one did this and this one did that and this one is evil and this one is corrupt and this one is greedy and so on. And it's like, well, wait a second. You only know all this because years ago you were friends with all these people and you had a professional relationship with these people. You worked for or with these people. And it's like, so don't you then share some of the blame? If all your friends are evil, if all your friends and your enterprise and your profession is evil and you were in it for years and you didn't say anything for years, is there not a complicity? Is there not, are you not an accessory to these things? Is there not at the minimum a guilt by association? What they all have in common, because that's all of them. And what all the tell-alls have in common is the answer is no. Why is the answer no? Well, because I'm so stupid I didn't know. Well, I'm so stupid and naive and ignorant that I just didn't know. So I'm not guilty because I'm a fucking idiot. That's the argument that they all have in common. Lauren Southern sits down, like in this case, and it's like, oh, well, I didn't know that guy was flying me out for sex because I'm a fucking idiot. And I didn't know I got.
Can you talk on these on the computer yet, or do you have to have like
naive and ignorant? And there is implicit.
Do you have to be on your fucking phone?
Very particular idea of what it means to be good. And so in this case, Lauren Southern is seen as the good guy. She's framed as the good guy because she is this sort of, she's passive. Her virtue is her passivity. She was stupid and ignorant and innocent, and therefore
the last time I joined these I disconnected like 10 times. It was super irritating.
She wasn't doing things. She was sort of being acted upon passively, and it's her passivity that makes her good. Those other guys were active. They were doing things. They were smarter than her. They were cunning. They were doing things, and it was the doing things that made them bad people. You understand? You follow this? They were smart and cunning. She was stupid and ignorant. They were active. She was passive. They're evil, and she's just innocent. Her goodness comes from her innocence. She didn't do anything good. Did she, did she like reform the system? No. Did she kick ass behind the scenes and set things right? No. Did she do...
Okay, fuck. I DM'd him on Discord if he wants to chat. I'm not going to do the mobile fucking... I saw you doing... I tried to listen earlier. I'm going to be totally honest with you. Twitter Spaces trigger the fuck out of me because anytime I try to join on my phone, I tried to join your last one, I got cut off like 3 times because you're DC, so I stopped listening. But it seemed like you were going over the Lauren thing. You had some problems.
Yeah. So I haven't watched the whole thing yet. It's 3 hours.
Jeez.
Did you watch the whole thing?
The whole thing, start to finish, yeah.
You did?
Yeah, of course. That's free content, baby. I'm a streamer. Yeah. Of course I put somebody else's video on for 3 hours and watch it on my shit. That's what we do here.
I know, yeah, I'm gonna do it too. I'm gonna do it this week, but it's just that's such a bear to get through, like 3 hours of Lauren Southern.
3 hours of somebody shitting on the right? That sounds like a dream. What do you mean?
Yeah. It's right up your alley, I know. Well, I just jumped in there because you see Right Wing Watch shitting on her.
No, I or maybe I have. I don't know. It feels like everybody on the right shits on everybody on the right, so I'm sure I've seen it, or what is it?
Right Wing Watch is like, they're like the Huffington Post or whatever. Their job is like to write. Well, Huffington Post has writers like this. Their job is to write about people like me and talk trash or whatever.
Based.
And, yeah.
I hope they write about me soon, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, honestly, they might. But so they tweeted about Lauren Southern that she, apparently in the video, she talked about how some guy flew her out to California and then expected her to have sex with him. Mm-hmm. She was like surprised by that. And so Right Wing Watch was like, hey, you fucking idiot. Like, obviously that's why somebody would pay to fly you out to California and put you up in an Airbnb is because he thought, hey, you were going to have sex with him. So I was laughing at that clip. Did you see that tweet? What do you think about that just in general, by the way?
I mean, I think that's a pretty fair experience. I don't think that there's anything that off the wall about it. And it's probably stuff that's worth talking about, no? Like, there's a lot of, like, kind of weird, scummy, exploitative guys that are trying to, like, fuck girls and do shit and, like, promise them things. And depending on how young you are, it's pretty easy to fall for it. You see it happen time and time again, probably in every single industry. I see it happen in my industry in gaming and then in streaming and everything now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though, is, like, I think if you're a woman, particularly in politics, it, kind of goes without saying. It's like the casting couch type business. Like,
well, yeah, but I think that was the issue that Lauren kind of had, was that, like, that feels like something that, like, sleazy, disgusting progressives would do, not conservatives. It seems like conservatives wouldn't be that way. But it seems like this is an issue that doesn't have to do with, like, left versus right. This is just like an online politics issue. But originally didn't seem to be the case, right?
I think that's just a male-female issue. I think that as long as you'll have males attracted to females and females try to do it's things other than sex, men will try to use those things as a means to an end for sex.
Yeah, I mean, you can say that, but then in that case, you've completely lost the moral high ground as conservative, which conservatives like to have, whether you believe it or not. Conservatives like to feel like they're the more moral of the, like, degenerate progressives versus, like, the family-oriented conservatives. So if you step into that world, especially, I don't know when she started, 18 or 19, if you step into that world hearing that and believing that, then to have that reality shattered, well, now it's like, well, why the fuck would I support conservatives over progressives if they're all just, like, sleazy scumfucks in their personal life? I think that's a fair observation.
And see, the thing is, though, I don't think that there's any loss of the moral high ground, because it's like, we're acknowledging that that's sort of the reality of the dynamic between men and women. Like, I would say that I think nearly everybody that watches Lauren Southern, it's a form of that. Like, I think that people watch Lauren Southern because she's hot. Now that she's got all her plastic surgery, I think people watch her because she's hot, not because they think she's so interesting and has, like, interesting things to say.
I guess it's like even your perspective here, and I probably feel more strongly about this because I come from a gaming background. Like, that comment. So, like, if I go through all of Lauren's stuff, I think earlier in her career when she did stuff with Shoe on Head, there were a couple of, like, booba outfits. But if you look at, like, all of her recent stuff, or at least from anything I've seen, maybe there's more stuff that I've missed, but, like, even on her Instagram, she's never posted, like, super hot, like, nudie shit at all for people to watch her for. And even for girls in gaming, it'll be the same. You'll have, like, the most, like, they wear normal clothes or whatever, but there's still guys saying, like, well, the only reason anybody watches your shit is because you're hot. And it's like the types of guys saying this are guys that have done nothing. They haven't even left their home country. They have no big projects they've worked on, right? Like, meanwhile, she's got at least a few big projects under her belt. Like, don't you think it's kind of weird to just be that dismissive of her work?
No, and I would say about my opinion is that the lack of sort of revealing clothing, I think, is an enhancer. It's like, you ever see The Sopranos? You ever watch that show, The Sopranos?
I've heard of it. I've seen clips. I need to watch it. I haven't, unfortunately, but
you gotta get on top of that. Well, so in the show, Tony Soprano, he's an Italian mobster, and he goes to a therapist who's a girl, and she's like wears business clothes and glasses, and he develops a crush on her, and that's one of the episodes is he's in love with her, and he says something like he's going to like this hooker, he's going to this prostitute, he's like, hey, do you think you wear like business clothes? It's sort of like more subtle. So I actually think it's the opposite. I think it's no, I think that's still part of it. I don't think.
Well, but now you're in a world where you can't win then as a woman, right? If you go on and you wear like huge booba shit, oh look, she's dressed like a slut. If you go on and you wear like very formal, non-revealing stuff, oh well, look, she's just trying to like be a mommy dummy. It's like, okay, well, fuck. Literally, no matter what you do, then like skeezy guys are just going to claim that like the only reason people watch you is for sex.
Yes, correct. Because
so do you think women should just not participate in politics, or what?
Who do you think you're talking to?
True, I guess. Well, but then in that case, just say that, and then I wouldn't be able to argue with it. Like, if you're just like, I don't think women should be in politics. Okay, fine, Nick. That could be your opinion. That's fine. I don't think a lot of conservative women would like that feeling, but at least like be honest about it. Don't be like, well, it's because the clothes she's wearing might give her the mommy. No, it has nothing to do with what she's wearing. It's the fact she's a woman. Just say that.
Yeah, that is what I'm saying.
Okay, then base, then do that. Fuck women. Okay, fine. Women, yeah, there you go. Sure, let's go. Fuck women. Okay.
Yeah, and regardless of what her intention is, like she very well may be like, she thinks that she's out there making political content, whatever. But I think that that's like why her audience watches her. I think regardless of what the intention is, like I think that because the thing is, people could always watch porn. Like I think that people, watch women doing sports, because you could say the same thing, like, why would like a woman like sportscaster? I guess they were more like revealing stuff than a political person, but it's the same deal. I think that it's all really about men being attracted to women, and it's less about, men seeing women having something to offer in the realm of politics. And, and so she's sort of foolish for not understanding that, I guess, or,
I mean, like, yeah, I guess. Ignorance. So now we're hitting at like very fundamental views of like men and women and stuff. And I guess you can have that view, but like if you're trying to build a big tent conservative movement, you're kind of fucking yourself by at the outset saying that women can't make real contributions to your political movement. Don't you think that's like kind of fucking you? Like, why would you put yourself in that world?
Yeah, I've heard that from people on my side. People are like, you're excluding 50% of the people in the country from your little movement. But here's the thing, Destiny, is that, if we say that women can't do politics, then women not being in our politics is not like a huge loss. You know what I'm saying? And this kind of gets to the point of like, I don't believe in democracy. I don't believe in like, let's get like half the people or even like a plurality or lots of the people. If we get like a smaller percentage of really good, like a really solid demographic cohort, that will be better than if we have more people, or that could be better than having simply more people. It's what kinds of people do you have? Like for example, we have a lot of tech guys. A lot of tech guys are very right-wing. And I don't really want to get into that because that's like a whole different conversation. But there's a lot of like crypto tech people that are very right-wing. A lot of like young, white, savant, autistic types are like some of them obviously very left-wing, but some of them very right-wing. And it's like those are high-impact frags, okay? Or high-impact frags.
Yeah, you can say that, but like look at the type of movement you're building at the end of the day. One, you're going to have a hard time winning votes if it comes to that point because now you've written off women completely. And two, now you're like even furthering this huge kind of like incel problem or caricature or accurate stereotype of your side because you're literally explicitly excluding women from the movement. Why would you want to do that? What? Or unless you guys are all going to become gay, or are you guys like on board with that now, or is it going to be like an army of Dave Rubins that are like, you know what, homies take care of the homies, we blow each other, we don't need women for this shit? Is that like maybe that is the next step of where you guys are headed? But
no, I encourage my people to get married and everything, but the thing is like, you got there with the voting, who's going to vote for you? The thing is it sort of matters less that, we have people voting for us on our side than it is that we have the people that they're voting for that are on our side. You know what I'm saying? So like, if you look at like how power works, it's like, and I've begun to realize this a lot more the more I've read sort of these Straussians, is that saying, and this is something which, I realized recently, saying what you think and saying what you believe actually has very little to do with acquiring power. People like you and I are sort of sincere, forthright people.
Yeah, you're actually taking the Hillary Clinton position, right? The public and the private position, that you've got something you talk about publicly, but privately there's something more you're pushing for, is essentially what you're saying, yeah? Which is great. She's a shrewd politician. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, yeah, because you read Strauss, you read some of these others, and they say, really that there's a disconnect between. And by the way, that's not my philosophy. I'm just saying I read other people, and this is what they say, that going out there and saying like, here's all my beliefs, and this is everything I believe, and this is my sincere whatever. That actually, that sometimes correlates with acquiring power and using power, but the two things really don't have anything to do with each other, because you could really just kind of say whatever you want, acquire power, and then do whatever you want with it. Within reason, of course. Obviously, that's an exaggeration. There's restrictions on there. But it's like, it gets to the idea of, what are we at the end of the day really trying to achieve? We want to change society. How do we do that? Through power. Who wields the power? How is power exercised? And like, those are the kinds of questions we need to ask. And like, convincing half the population to like us or like our ideas actually has very little to do with that conversation about how to acquire and wield.
The thing is that like, for what you want to build politically, I don't think it's necessary that you exclude women. Like, it feels like you're only doing that out of like I don't want to say personal vitriol. I'll find like a nicer way to say that. But like, there's no reason for your side to be like, you know what? Maybe women can make valid political contributions. Like, it's not like you're losing anything doing that. And the potentiality to either increase your viewer base or increase your audience that way, or increase the amount of people that would share your political ideas, seems like it's a no-brainer that would be an upside. Like, why write off all women when you could be more inclusive and arguably lose nothing for it? Unless you think that like, not liking women participating is like a key aspect of your political movement or project.
Well, it is, but also case.
Wait, why?
Well, because we believe that men and women are different, and I think that
hold on, but different in that like they can't even contribute politically. That's just impossible. Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, basically. And but what's more is, even in this particular example, like Lauren Southern is the case in point. Lauren Southern is a woman in politics, and look at what she did. Again, I haven't read the video or watched the video in its entirety, but she's enmeshed with all these people, and then she gets knocked up, and then she comes back years later with this centrist bullshit saying, I think everybody's right and everybody makes good points, and then throws her own fucking side under the bus and says like, oh, remember Milo from 10 years ago? Well, he did this thing that you're really going to want to hear about. Or remember Paul Joseph Watson? Well, he tried to fuck me or something. It's like, that's like, hello, that's a pretty good argument for why and this happens time and time again.
Okay, I think for a couple of these. So first of all, it's not just centrist bullshit, right? Everybody's, unless you think maybe you think I'm centrist bullshit, but I feel like it's okay, base. I know I am a centrist. I love it. I love the institutions too. Okay, so I think that the issue is that what people need to realize is people on the outside of these political movements need to realize that their political leaders or figures, that a lot of the stuff that they see as serious political battles at the end of the day online, oftentimes there's the result of like bullshit petty infighting, that the heroes and figures that people look up to aren't like, they're not as much as they seem to be. I think that arguably even your movement has had trouble with this recently, right? When you had the big falling out with that other dude, and there was a whole bunch of weird infighting, and Ralph came up, and Mr. Medicare was like throwing rocks. Like, you guys have gone through this shit on your own. So I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with somebody coming on to be like, hey, for you guys that think that this is what the scene was like, this is what it's actually like. I feel like you want more of those exposés because you want to weed those bad actors or those losers that are just out there trying to fuck other political people or don't believe in their political values or are lying about everyone else. Wouldn't you want those people outed to like strengthen your political side?
Yeah, I agree with you that, but yeah, I mean, Lauren Southern is one of those people who is weeded out as somebody who is, not really. Are you saying like?
Yeah, but like, hold on, but like weeded out now.
Weeding people out, or
no, yeah, that like an expose like that would theoretically, like, I don't think she's talking about anybody relevant now, but
I
like,
meant in the reverse, like she weeded herself out as untrustworthy.
I guess like, because when I think of, because people always ask me, why do I talk to people like you or people like Lauren? People ask me this all the time. It's one of the biggest criticisms I get, and my response is that I respect you too, because both of you you are working on building real political projects. You've got your whole movement, you got a website, you do AFPAC. I respect that. Even if I think your views are batshit insane, I respect the work that you put in. But I would say the same with Lauren too. Like, she did documentaries on topics when people are barely willing to do like prepared content on YouTube. And the fact that somebody would go out and like film stuff on the ground and do like a whole show. She did the shit about South Africa, however much I disagree with farmlands and that message or whatever, at least it shows like a commitment to a project. Like, you have to admit that she's willing to put in more work than 99% of other conservative or even alt-right or even far-right like political commentators. You don't think that's worth anything?
No, not really. I mean, I think that there is something to be said about a person that takes initiative and takes on large projects. And, she took on some documentaries, but, she also got paid fabulously for it. And if you look at the...
Wait, hold on. Paid fabulously for it? In what sense?
Do you remember there was like a running joke on the right wing where she on her Patreon had like some exorbitant benefit where it was like, get on a 15-minute Skype call with me, and it cost like $10,000 or something ridiculous.
Yeah, but like the thing is if I were to ask you for this, none of you guys have sources for how much money was made on that. None of you have sources for how. I don't think anybody on that side is like cashing out huge amounts on Patreon.
Oh, Destiny, believe me, like. Trust me.
Okay, hold on. No. I'll go one step further. I know that nobody was making huge. That is just not true. And I know I can say that because if you can give me sources on that, I'd love to see that. And I hate to be like that. Sorry. But no, I don't think anybody over there was making. Now, some of the larger companies that were selling deals, maybe. So like maybe Rebel Media was, but any of like the individual creators over there, no, these guys are not making anywhere near the amount.
You're saying you know for a fact that Lauren Southern didn't make lots of money? Do you know how much money Lauren Southern made?
When you say lots of money, well, what do you mean by lots of money?
Like, she probably made millions of dollars.
Absolutely not. I know that's not true.
You don't think she's a millionaire?
Absolutely not. No shot. I don't think so.
How much money? So when you say, so it's relative, how much money, $1 million? I'm
not going to be able to have that in my head, but I know that like when all of these people had Patreons, it happened for far left people and far right people, everybody's looking at like the subscriber numbers and tracking like how much money people are making and how much money people are doing with everything. Look at Lauren's fucking last documentary, right? I don't even think she hosted that on her own thing. I think she sold it to somebody else, right? Like if she's got like so much money, why wouldn't she just like be in control of like all of her?
One. Well, because she got BTFO'd by Milo years ago. So, I mean, like, yeah.
Well, hold on. No. Hold on. Wait. Hold on. Now you're talking to, okay, now businessman destiny is activated, okay? You can't get BTFO'd by somebody if you've got millions of dollars. No offense, but Milo is worthless, okay? Milo is never going to BTFO anybody that has like millions and millions of dollars by age 25. That's putting you in the top 0.001% of online content creators. So that story is just not true. If Milo can have an impact.
What does the money have to do with that?
Because earlier you were saying that it wasn't a passion project. She wasn't doing documentaries because she believed it. She was just doing it to make fuck tons of dollars. And I don't think that was the case. I don't think anybody working for Rebel Media.
I didn't say she didn't do it because she didn't believe it. I said that it just so happened that it's not like she's making some huge sacrifice if she's getting paid fabulously for it.
If she's getting paid fabulously for it, then here's my question to you guys, to the left and the right. Where are all of these other documentaries then? Where the fuck are they? If people can make so much money doing it, why is anybody else doing it?
There's tons of them. There's tons of them. Are you kidding me? The right wing is a documentary mill. Have you ever heard of a man named fucking Dinesh D'Souza? He gets paid fucking millions of dollars, and he's the biggest grifter in the right wing, saying the Democrats started the KKK. We're all the country of Poland paid Jack Posobiec and Stefan Molyneux to make these documentaries. Yeah. They're fucking everywhere.
So hold on. Firstly, they're not everywhere. If you want to point out Dinesh D'Souza, that's one guy who's not an online content creation, who's also probably not a millionaire, okay? This guy, well, Dinesh might be because he's got so many mainstream connections. But I'm not asking about your mainstream figure. I'm asking like where all these online content creators are making a lot of money. Why aren't they getting paid tons of money to go out and make documentaries? Where are all the documentaries from all these online people with Patreons and YouTubes and shit?
I'm just telling you, Jack Posobiec has made documentaries. Stefan Molyneux's made documentaries. Mike Cernovich made documentaries. What's his name?
How many documentaries has Stefan Molyneux made? Hold on. Stefan Molyneux, if you're out there, we never got to debate. You're talking about that one documentary he made about Poland or whatever, right? The white nationalist shit. I don't think these people are making a lot of money on these things. I just don't think the money is there for these things that you think is. I don't think so.
Dude, trust me.
The way that you make money, hold on, fuck. Okay, we can disagree on this, but I'm telling you that you're wrong. If somebody has worked the business side of this, okay? And maybe you've got different experience, maybe I'm wrong. But like when you look at the people that are making money on this, it's going to be the companies behind it. So for instance, the big documentary recently that's probably made money is that Matt Walsh one, because in order to get that documentary, you've got to sign up for like the Daily Wire subscription service to do it. I bet those people are making documentaries. But if you were to bring out people like Stefan Molyneux, I don't think he made that much money in that Poland documentary. No fucking shot. No way.
Yeah, well, listen, just because he, in that particular case, didn't make a lot of money, the point is he made a documentary because that is a lucrative thing that at the time was very in vogue back in like, I want to say 2018, 2019, and it still is. I mean, when I say there's a lot of donor money behind documentaries in the right wing, that's why, like, Stu Peters makes documentaries. I made a documentary. Like, I didn't get paid a lot of money
but again,
for my documentary.
listen to when you say that. When you say that, so this is my business brain mode. When you say there's a lot of donor money to me, that means there's no money. Because when I work on projects, I don't need donor money to do it. I'm getting paid big dollars by corporations that are buying products from me, buying me to advertise shit, buying me to do events. If I'm begging for donor money, that means there's not shit there. That's what donor money means.
That's what funds politics, dude. That's what funds politics.
We're not talking about.
Point USA raises $40 million a year in donor money,
sure.
dude.
Well, we're not talking about just politics. Okay, here's a link to her Patreon. According to this site, she was making $2,500 a month on Patreon. This is not true. Okay, well, if you find anything different, I'd be curious to see it. Dude, I mean, but like, I run events next to these guys. I run events next to these guys, and I've heard a lot of these guys. I hear them in the background begging for like a $3,000 stipend to fly out and do an event. Are you serious? Why would you even ask for that little bit of money? Or I've had people message me saying like, oh, like these guys got affected. We should do it. Somebody recently reached out and said that there something happened. I'm going to be vague, but basically something happened, and somebody reached out like, hey, like these kids that we did some stuff with, they got negatively affected. We should do a GoFundMe for $2,000. Why the fuck would I do a GoFundMe for somebody for $2,000? I would just give it to them. That's insane that you would even think to do that. That tells me more than anything else how much money these people have or how much money these people are making. I think there's way less behind the scenes. Maybe you guys are hyped up on some like fucking Soros Jewish shit, but I don't think the money is there behind the scenes like you guys think it is. Maybe for the big companies, but not for the only against the Jewish women, because we hate women here. But I don't think the money is flowing around back there for the individual documentary people that you guys think there are. But I guess it's hard for us to prove that. I'd be really curious for Stefan Molyneux to come out and say how much money he made on that Poland documentary. I don't think it was much.
I'm saying, like, you may be right in that case that Stefan did make money on that, but I think that it's like a gold rush. It's like anything, you know, people see other people making money on things. People see that's a lucrative kind of thing to do. Just because they personally don't succeed at it doesn't mean they, like, I believe that a guy, and by the way, Stefan, I think his documentary in Poland, there was a time when the government of Poland, when I say the country of Poland, the government of Poland was literally paid Jack Posobiec to do a documentary there, paid Molyneux to do a documentary there. And
yeah,
again,
sure. But like, again, like from a business perspective, like what is that telling you? Why are they paying for it? Because the money's not there to do it otherwise. Those government incentive yes, that's exactly why these programs exist. Government incentive programs exist like that because there's not the money to be made otherwise. Places like Poland are begging you. We'll pay you to come out and make a documentary because we know you're not going to do it otherwise. It's like the orphan drug program in the United States. Nobody's going to make a drug that cures 300 children unless the government's offering a special incentive for it. It's the same thing with these special incentives from governments to go and film places in these other countries because the money's not there for it.
Well, it's just like a tax incentive, you know. I mean, like, you know, in Georgia, the state of Georgia, they have a big tax incentive for production. Now, does that mean that you can't make money on production in Georgia?
No, but it means you probably wouldn't go there if it wasn't for the incentive. That's the whole point.
Yeah, and that's the same thing with Poland. Poland subsidized the doc because people. It doesn't mean that people wouldn't make documentaries. It means that people wouldn't make the documentary in Poland. I was just making a side point about that arrangement. But the point is like people pay for these documentaries. Just trust me on this because you're skeptical. You don't have to trust me. You could look into this. Dinesh, James O'Keefe, all those guys. It's a bit. Peter Thiel funds the documentaries. I don't want to get too much into that, but he's got like production companies that's what they do. The documentaries are very big money, very lucrative content. I think that's a big reason why Lauren switched from being a YouTuber to doing the documentaries is because it was
I will tell you that somebody of her size is making way more money on YouTube than you could ever dream to make on documentaries. It's not even close, Nick.
Do you ask her about that?
I don't need to. I have 400,000 subs on my channel, and my channel makes an ad revenue alone over 500,000 a year. There's no shot that her with 700,000 subs is like, oh, I'm gonna go do a documentary. Like, there are figures that I could throw around that might sound big to you. Like, for 6 months working on a documentary, somebody will cut you a $20,000 paycheck. That's chump change. It might seem like a lot, but it's not. I don't think you guys realize like how much money is flying around behind the scenes here for certain types of work, and documentaries just aren't it. That's like the last project I would ever work on if I wanted to make a fuck ton of money. You just churn out a ton of low effort content, do daily streams, especially, no offense to Lauren, but she's like a fucking cutie girl. She probably could get a fuck ton of super chats. She could make like $1 billion more just streaming every day, putting out low effort content like I do, than spending like 3 months working on a fucking documentary.
I disagree. I don't think that she could make a lot of money streaming. Number one, because I don't think she could probably do it on Twitch or YouTube. She'd have to do it on something like Odyssey, where she wouldn't make lots of money.
She's already been streaming on YouTube. Why could she not just keep doing
really?
that? Yeah.
Does she stream on YouTube?
Yeah, it's not that hard as long. Well, maybe for you it would be, but as long as you stay away from the Jewish stuff and the and other crazy shit, you're probably going to be okay on YouTube. Maybe not on Twitch, but on YouTube you will.
In any case, you are severely underestimating the amount of money that is in these documentaries. I know people that have raised like millions of dollars doing these documentaries, and that's production budget. But believe me, people that are involved in these things get paid very handsomely. You're just underestimating, and maybe it's different.
Well, if you
on
ever
the right and the left.
if you ever have like receipts for that, I'd be super interested to see it, because that's breaking every business model I know to be true in the influencer world throughout like gaming and YouTube.
Well, here I am. Here I am, a person that literally works in the right.
Sure, give me a number, give me a fact, give me a figure, give me a person. Who?
I don't listen. I didn't know
exactly. That's the issue.
Money. Well, yeah, I don't have like a receipt like, hey, so and so sent me the budget for their film or whatever. But I'm telling you, as somebody that's in this, I've know enough people. I've seen it happen.
Yeah, I know, but like I can tell you figure, like I can tell you that a person my size advertising a video game is going to get anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 an hour to put like an imprint or a pre-roll or something on a YouTube video. Like I can give you facts and figures what everybody in my industry. I can tell you what people make on certain events, or the things that people charge to cast something for like a GSL, or not GSL, but like other like online events that people do. Like I can tell you these figures, but for documentaries, I've never heard of these figures being that high. I might hear that somebody gets paid like maybe like 10 grand, maybe to do like a 3 or 4 month project. But like you this on impression that you have that people are getting like paid like cut 7-figure checks for like Stefan Molyneux that's got like 2 reviews on IMDb for his documentary.
Molyneux.
No, I know. You brought up Molyneux as one of the examples of a guy that made a lot of money on documentaries. I don't think so.
No, I didn't say he's a guy that made a lot of money. You said if there was a lot of money in documentaries, lots of people would be doing them. And I said lots of people are, and I gave you like a dozen names. Almost everybody's doing it. You said, if documentaries were so lucrative and it's so hard work, everybody'd be doing it. Don't you think people should be doing that? It's like, yeah, everybody's making grift documentaries. Dinesh D'Souza,
but the people that are making the
Cernovich,
documentaries are only the people that are backed by the huge companies. That's the issue, right? You don't see independent people going out and making documentaries because there's not that much money to be made doing it. You have to have the big company backing you, and then chances are most of the money.
What are you talking about? Of course they're doing it independently.
Okay.
What big company? I mean, I
don't see a lot of people going out and doing like independent, like on the ground, like reporting documentary. I don't see that happening much in the online political world. I don't see that.
The better question would be who isn't doing it. Molyneux flew to Hong Kong and did a doc. Jack Posobiec flew to Poland and did a doc. Mike Cernovich did a doc, 2 docs about the media.
Where he's going to other countries and like filming. Yeah, but hold on. So when you talk about Posobiec or Cernovich, are these guys like backed by companies? Or are they doing this like all independently funded?
What do you mean independent?
Because I don't like usually these guys are like, yeah, or they're like working with their own companies and doing this stuff. It seems like these guys are all part of big companies that are getting bankrolled or funded by other people.
No, they definitely. I mean, they're getting bankrolled. But you think Lauren Southern was not getting funding?
Not this huge exorbitant funding that you're talking about. No, not generally.
Oh, she was backed by Ezra Levant with Rebel, and that's a big company. They raised millions of dollars doing grift.
They raised millions of dollars for the entire company. Right? Yeah, you're looking at revenue versus profit. There's a huge difference there on the business side.
You see, I mean, you're really just splitting the hairs.
I'm not splitting it. No, I'm sorry. Hold on. This is just because I feel strongly about this because it's my business now, right? When you talk about like profit versus revenue, it's like these numbers are important, right? If you're going to tell me like this company raised $2 million, okay, and they've got 30 employees that they pay over like 2 years, like this is not any amount of money. This is probably barely covering expenses. If I'll concede this to you, okay? If you guys ever come out with like big receipts, I'd be super curious to see that because like that's what I need to see. Show me that like Cernovich got paid $2 million for some documentary, or Lauren Southern raised $5 million and it only costs like $100,000 with this on. I'd be curious to see those facts because you have them. I know you don't though, and I know they're never gonna come out. But if they do, I'll admit they're like, okay, yeah, I'm incorrect on that.
I'm telling you, yeah. I mean, like I said, I thought we were here to talk about the 3-hour documentary. If you want,
we can do that. We can
documentary.
Sure.
Point being is like, I didn't come here with like a 20-page document about here's all my evidence that like right-wing people make lots of money doing documentaries.
Sure, and that's fair.
This is somebody that knows everybody in the scene, been in the scene for years, and I know
you're saying that, but like I know people too, and you said things that I know personally are incorrect because I've heard other things from other people.
Such as what? Like,
well, I'm not gonna. If you're not gonna, not even just from her actually, but from other people. But I'm not gonna sit here and hash this out if you're not gonna tell me anything exact But there are things that you said I know are not true. But that's irrelevant.
What? Like such as what?
Well, if you're not going to volunteer any exact fact or figure, I'm not going to volunteer any of my exact facts or figures. That's just how it goes. Well, I'll give you things related to me and my industry, but I'm not going to dig into the political world because I'm barely making these connections. I'm not about to burn every connection I have to like win a debate that you're losing already. Okay.
We're in a debate about who is making money and how much money they're making. The point is, to get back to the original point about she's making the Farmlands documentary and wow, isn't that so great? Mm-hmm. And I said she got paid money. I mean, like these e-celebrities and influencers get paid lots of money. And the point is like you could say, they're doing lots of hard work. You could also say, I mean, yeah, that's true, but they're also getting paid money. And you said, there's no money in documentaries. And it's like, because if there were, everybody'd be doing them. And I'm like, yeah, well, everybody is doing them. And you're like, but they're not making that much money.
Yeah, I understand. We're going around in circles of this. Like, here is my impression of somebody who's spent a long time in this world, 12 years in online entertainment. If you want to make money, the lower effort, the easier it is to churn it out, the more money you're making. You would never, ever embark on longer term projects because you're never going to get compensated the same way you would for lower effort content. That is like a rule of media creation that carries ubiquitously through every single medium. It's why reality TV makes so much money and is so oftenly produced. Very low budget, very high return. That's why Hollywood prefers to invest in superhero films. Very formulaic, very low risk, very high return. But maybe in the case of documentaries, there's one case. You're right, and I'll look for that information that you guys are going to release soon, I'm sure, and then I'll be curious to go over it. Okay.
I understand what you're saying. I agree with you in a certain sense, but there's also like the political scene is a little bit different because unlike the world of entertainment media, you do have this political thing that it's not just a product, it's also propaganda. And so there are people that pay lots and lots of money, and sometimes it is low effort. Like honestly, doing these documentaries, not like the high budget kind of thing that you're talking about. It can be, for sure. But, when you talk about low effort, yeah, there's low effort turning on a camera, playing Minecraft, turning on the camera, shooting shit with me, whatever. But comparatively speaking, to raise money for a film project, what do you think the budget is to fly to South Africa, with a few people and shoot something? It's not like a crazy high budget.
No, you're probably $10,000 or $20,000, but you're doing
sure.
but then you're spending time doing script planning, like doing like all sorts of off-camera shit. I'm not saying that these are like hugely expensive projects.
If you're raising hundreds of thousands of dollars for that, if you're raising lots and lots of money, or sometimes
I will also
over $1 million for that.
We're going to disagree on this axiomatically, and I understand why. Maybe there's a conversation for another day. I don't think there's that much money in the world of politics compared to other things. When people get approached in my world with like political projects or advertising campaigns, that money is always way lower than anything like a gaming company or like somebody that's endemic to this world is going to offer you. I know that you guys are always talking about how there's like billions of dollars of dark cash and all this Jewish shit and whatever, the money flying around in the political world. I don't think the political world pays anywhere near as well as you guys pretend it does.
Oh yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, I'm not saying the political world pays better than the private world. I'm saying that does change the dynamic because it's not competitive like it is, because the money that they're competing for, you're right, they're not strictly fighting for market share in a. They're not selling a product necessarily all the time to the consumer. They're selling a product to a donor. They're selling a product to that. I'm saying that the dynamic is slightly different than reality TV because, no donor is paying. Like the reality TV is being made for a donor. It's being made for consumption. Whereas in politics, these documentaries and a lot of the media projects, the money doesn't always come from the consumer. Sometimes it comes from some other interested party, like a foreign government, like in the case of Poland or
and
Israel
and this is just
China.
We're circling the drain, and I'll say this final time, I guess, so you can have the last word. When the money, okay, fine. I'm trying to say this in a nice way. I'm not trying to attack you. I think that it is a naive assumption that most people out of the industry will have this idea that if the money is coming from an external party, those people are loaded. They're getting paid. They must be getting, if they're getting like donations or whatever, that's what. But in my mind, as somebody that's worked in this world, when I hear that the money is coming from an external party, that means that they're probably not getting paid. If you need an angel investor, if you need a third party donor to make something work, means that the money's probably not right otherwise, which means you're probably not making as much as you would doing a more fruitful project. But that's just the interpretation I have, I guess, in my world of projects. But
yeah, I think there's some truth to that. But I would also say that, there's also some truth that there's a lot of money in like big production, like Daily Wire, you brought up the Matt Walsh doc. That's $100 million company. They make $100 million a year selling products, and they're opening up this branch where they're like making things like Hollywood films, like not Hollywood level, but they're making like not fiction movies, and they're making like kids content, all the very disturbing stuff. I don't know how much you know about that, but you should look into it because it's pretty fucked up. But anyway, but we're getting off track with the Lawrence Southern thing.
Sure, yeah, okay, back to the circle, yeah. So I think the original thing was that, like, I just don't understand why you would throw away or not want involvement from, I think I was saying women in general, if they were capable of, like, working on projects that could be a benefit to whatever movement you have. If you got people that are willing to work on projects, and then we got into, like, well, why are they even working on projects? So maybe we move off that topic, or...
Yeah, because I think we're at an impasse about men and women.
So here's the question for you. If somebody does get scorned or wronged by people in a particular movement, and it's your movement, do you ever want them coming out and saying anything, or should they always just keep it to themselves?
I think it's sort of a matter of discretion. I think there's something sort of wrong about it. Because it's like, it's sort of like a breach of confidence. I think that, to have a breach of confidence requires something very serious. And obviously what is serious is subjective. So, a person, because you have to admit that there are people that are whistleblowers, and then there are sometimes people that are disgruntled. I'm sure that you've seen that in your community or with other people on the left or something. Sometimes there's like something egregious going on that like is relevant. And then sometimes people like sour grapes and they cause problems. And so, it's just sort of a balance. And then there's also the question of like, what are you trying to achieve? Because like in our world, it's like, because people have done this to me. It's like people are in this thing and they're like, we believe in Christianity, we believe in conservatism, and we think this is the vehicle that's going to deliver that. And then they'll get like jilted over something personal and be like, well, I was in this thing and I thought that this was going to be the successful right-wing movement, but then someone was mean to me, so now I'm going to do my best to damage it. And it's like, so what's really your end game? I think there's like a big lack of it. It's sort of like a selfish thing. You know what I'm saying? Like there's something that's relevant to the sort of nature and goal of the organization, the purpose of the organization, and then there's something that's sort of just like, are you just doing that for personal reasons? It's a vendetta, it's vindictive.
Yeah, I guess it's hard because like it feels like if you want to accuse somebody of doing something like this for personal reasons, you're always going to be able to make that excuse. Like because it's probably going to involve them personally and how they saw something that was wrong or they were wrong, because oftentimes it takes you being wronged personally to realize that something wrong is even happening. That's just like human nature, right? Like you guys will even make fun of the left for it with that one comic of the I think it's a Stone Toss comic of the steamroller has rolled over 5 people, and then there's the one guy in the middle and he's like, I think we've gone far enough with cancel culture now, guys, right? Oftentimes it takes somebody being the victim of a thing to realize like, okay, fuck, maybe this is like a shitty thing. So in that sense, I don't think it's enough to just say like, oh, well, they were just personally jilted. I think you have to go a step further and analyze the claims. Like, well, are these claims like valid claims that should be brought up? When I think about bringing up claims on my own side, because I do this a lot, I still identify as a pretty staunch progressive, and I still identify like very far left-leaning on a lot of social issues. When I think about the people in my movement and I think about outing them and attacking them, I'm usually doing so because I feel like if we have certain political beliefs, those should be expressed in your private life as well. And if there's an incongruence there, it weakens my side. Like that's why, and it might even be true for you. I haven't watched your show lately, but like I feel like on the left, I attack the left more. I've seen you attack other figures on the right a lot, not because you hate the right or because you're not as sharing as much in common with them as you do people on the left, but because you feel like the very presence of those people is damaging or weakening your movement. I feel like there's a lot of progressives that make me look bad because of the insane shit they say. So I'm like super incentivized to attack and get rid of those people because they're fucking my shit up. And I feel like anytime you've got somebody that does like an expose on this where they're like, okay, I was in this movement and like, damn, these people are not at all what I figured they would be based on their political beliefs. I think it's fair game to out those people and say like, these guys aren't who you think they are. And the presence of them here is like destroying our ability to have like a coherent political movement.
I just think that's kind of like a dysfunctional approach because, you could say that. And the problem is once you open it's sort of like Assange and Edward Snowden. The thing is, like, I support Snowden, I support Assange because I hate the people in the government, I hate the regime. But by the same token, I also understand that the regime doesn't work if you can have people with a high security clearance where they can be like, oh, today I'm going to give up all the government secrets because I think I have a good reason. Like, to set that precedent, like then you can't have secrets, then you can't have a government, then you can't have confidence, you can't have discretion. And it's like no organization doing anything serious or large or complex or ambitious, no organization can set that precedent. So you could say on a case-by-case basis, well, was this thing warranted? Was this thing not warranted? Sure. But it's like the second that the government says, you know what, Assange, it's not so bad. You know what, Snowden, it's not so bad. The message is sent that it's like, yeah, maybe you think you're right, and maybe you're right. Maybe you think you're right and you're wrong, but, if you want to quit and then just blow the whistle on everything, you could totally do that without facing consequences. Obviously, that is something that if the government did that, it would completely collapse like in a day because, you're creating this sort of moral hazard. You're creating a perverse incentive.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you there, but I fundamentally think the analogy doesn't work because the government relies on relies on some level of privacy or secret, right?
Well, like, isn't the same thing true about a company or a team?
Well, hold on.
Or something like the Krusty Krab. Isn't a Krusty Krab very similar with the secret formula? Like if SpongeBob said, you know what, Mr. Krabs bullied me. This is the secret ingredient to the
There's
Krabby
not supposed to be a secret ingredient though when you're talking about your side. Like if anybody looks at my personal life, hopefully I'm not racist. I'm not raping people. I'm not doing shit that are contradictory to the political values that I'm espousing. Because if I am doing those, well, fuck me if my side leaks it. It'd be even worse if the other side found out. It would undermine your entire movement. What's the number one way people attack BLM? It's through the people that they choose to represent their ideals. Like, why is BLM bad? Because they celebrate people like Jacob Blake, because they celebrate people like George Floyd, because they celebrate people like anybody that's got any fault with them whatsoever. People, Michael Brown or whatever. People will point at these people and say like, this is why BLM is bad. The same thing's going to happen on your side. If you've got people that are espousing one political idea and they live their private life a totally different way, that's not a requirement for your political movement. You don't have to be a creepy, rapey sex pest behind the scenes to enact conservative political values like in the public. I don't think these two things are comparable at all. I just don't think you need to do it.
I just think this sort of presumes that like everybody is always going to not just like be right, but they're also going to have the appearance of being right, because it's like, as well as I do, or as well as anybody does, that there's two sides to every story. And so, somebody can go away and create a kind of, they can paint a picture that looks very bad, which may not actually be bad. By the same token, sometimes people have bad moments. And the point is like to have an organization constantly under threat of being undermined by somebody breaking confidence or indiscretion, then you literally cannot have organizations and you literally can't have leaders. Can you think of like one person that's ever like that has never had a bad moment or has maybe some kind of a flaw, or even if they don't, has never had even the appearance of a flaw, that if somebody went out and painted a picture of an appearance of a flaw, like it just that, I like to think in terms of systems, and if that kind of thing is allowed, like there is no, because I see what you're saying, and I agree, like, yeah, should right-wing people act right-wing? Yeah, should left-wing people act left-wing? Totally. But obviously, and this goes without saying, people aren't perfect. And obviously, sometimes, even if people
I agree.
are very good, they don't always look very
Sure.
good, and it's very easy to make somebody look bad.
Yeah, I agree with you. If I was to make a documentary about how Vosh is a horrible person, and I'm like, one time we went out to eat and he forgot to tip, another time when we were driving, he double parked, one time we were driving, he got road rage, and he like flipped off a black driver, and he said, go back to Africa, like, or some shit like this. I can understand that, like, at some point it's like, okay, well, there's like being really bad, and then there's like, this is kind of like petty bullshit. I guess this is hard if you haven't actually watched her documentary, but like, it feels like some of the claims that she was bringing up. So assuming if Milo Yiannopoulos, for instance, was lying, like just completely lying in his documentary or threatening other people, like blackmailing other people, those seem like more than just like, oh, that's like a personal, like just a little personal thing. You're never going to be able to go through my background. Not to say that I'm perfect, because I'm not perfect. You'll never be able to go through my background for me like blackmailing somebody not to release information about me. Like, if you do this, I'm going to destroy your life. Or you're never going to find me, inviting like, oh, you're a fresh new 19-year-old little nubile woman who wants to do politics. Let me fly you out to some event and try to fuck you in the hotel room. Like, that's never going to happen, because these aren't just like small little personal disagreements. These are pretty substantial moral failings that kind of fly in the face of your political project. And I think will damage your political project if they get out, especially if the opposition finds out.
Well, I'll give you a good example, because this just happened with me. You refer to the drama with me recently. Mm-hmm. It's like, recently who's my best friend and also kind of like my employee, and he lived in an apartment that I own, as well as a former employee, both go on the stream and talk trash about me. Mm-hmm. And it caused this big, like you said, it caused sort of like a little bit of a drama for a month, and fortunately, it didn't cause too many problems. But, like you said, if somebody is not, living up to their values, that's a big problem, and so on. And it's like, so these two people, it's like you could say people would presume they have credibility because of their proximity to me, their closeness to me, their role in the organization, and so on. And it's like, do they go on the stream and say like, oh, Nick is not a virgin at all, and he's not celibate, he's like fucking prostitutes? No. Do they say he's out there doing drugs and drinking, he's not actually abstinent about those things? No. Do they go out there and say, oh, they go out there and they're like, he watched Euphoria and he takes showers that are too long, and his car is too expensive, and he was mean to me, and one time this is a perfect example. One time I was at a pool party at a friend of mine's house on the 4th of July. It was like a Saturday night, 11 o'clock. Everybody's drunk except me because I don't drink. Good. And like all the trad Catholics at the party are like, okay, everybody get out of the pool. We're going to do a rosary circle right now. And in that circumstance,
absolutely
now listen.
Based.
I know, right? I'm Catholic, okay? And I'm all about it. I pray and all this. But in the moment, I was like, really? Like, we're all going to church tomorrow. Like, do we really have, it's like 11 o'clock's midnight. Everybody's drunk. Like, we're in the pool. I got to get out, dry off, get dressed. Like, really? And they go on the stream and they're like, oh, he rolled his eyes when we prayed, so he's like a fake Christian. Like, now that's a perfect example of, I'm not even doing anything wrong, but you could see we're told a certain way. It's like, he rolled his eyes during prayer. What? Blasphemy.
Sure, and I understand.
You get, like, the impression.
Sure, that's fine, but like, wouldn't you have, but then like, do you feel like there's a claim that she brought up in her thing that was like so minor? Like, why would you even bring this up?
I didn't, like I said, I didn't watch
okay,
it.
well then like, because like if all of her claims are like, these are the 7 people that tried to like assassinate fucking Trump or something, well then it feels like, okay, well maybe these are substantial enough. Like, but it feels like now it's pretty important to go over the actual claims themselves. It's like, well, was this worth bringing up or not, right? Especially if she, and I'm not taking a side here, right? But like, let's say that Milo Yiannopoulos did, because you mentioned that hit piece that Milo wrote on her, which is hilarious, by the way. I don't know if you've read it or not, but like, if you're saying that the claims against you are bad, Milo and his thing literally has like 4 anonymous sources told me this, okay? So this is like the worst type of journalism I've ever seen in my life, even called it that. But if it is the case that she feels like he lied about her, and people like you are still carrying forward those claims to this day, wouldn't it make sense that she'd want to address them? Why is that a minor thing? And then doesn't she necessarily have to throw Milo under the bus if she's going to do that?
If she wants to correct the record, that's fine. But my question is, it seems to me to be, because it wasn't just about Milo, it was about Milo, and it was about PJW, and it was about these other people. And also, it's like it's sort of like
PJW, another guy that's also been crazy about her on Twitter, though. I would expect, like, I've seen these guys fight on Twitter before. Why wouldn't she say something about him? Like, why wouldn't I say something about Vosh or Keffels or any of these people, too? They've all fought with me, right?
Well, there's this back and forth that goes on, but the question is, she goes away for years. She comes back. Her career isn't really taking off, I think, the way that she wants it to. And then she's like, oh, okay, now I'm going to do this 3-hour tell-all about all this stuff that happened 7 years ago with all these people that aren't even really as relevant anymore. It's like, is that opportunistic, or is that, because if Milo dropped that hit piece, it's like, then she quits. He drops a hit piece and she's in retirement. Now, wouldn't you say that that's like the timing of that is conspicuous? You could say, maybe it's totally legit and she was planning it anyway. Fair enough. But it's like, he drops a hit piece, she's like, oh, I'm going into retirement all of a sudden. Oh, now I'm back 3 years later. I'm on Odyssey. I'm eating bugs. That's
sure. And I mean, like that.
Oh, well, now fuck everybody. Everyone's horrible.
So this is one thing I would encourage you to do. And again, without taking sides, okay? Like, okay. So I hated Lauren Southern 3 years ago or whatever. But like, even when I'd seen that hit piece back then, that was something that I opened. I read like 3 paragraphs and then I closed it because it seemed like bullshit. I read a lot of stuff about a lot of people, even you, that I've read. That's like, this is probably bullshit, right? No. That Milo piece reads like bullshit. You should read it. I'm curious. You honestly should. It's a funny piece. You should read it. If you think it's got merit to it, then go for it. But like,
I've read the Milo piece. Yeah,
okay, if you've read the Milo piece and you see that like every important claim there is sourced with a fucking like 4. I think one of the questions is 4 men that don't dare come forward to say anything. What? What is Lauren this? Or I guess maybe if you should believe she's really Lauren Simonson or whatever you guys say, then maybe it's a different thing.
She's Jewish.
Yeah, so like on one end, like you could explain it all the way with conspiracy, but then on the other end, you could just like take it all at face value. It's like, okay, well, she started a family. She didn't want to do politics because the Australian government said no, which makes sense given Christchurch and everything else. And then she just stepped out of the political life to do this other stuff. If she's coming back to be involved in politics and she wants to make money, like again, just as somebody that does this, all she'd have to do, and I've seen her stream, she'd just turn on her stream, collect like super chats and just talk about like modern cultural shit. Like how many views does she even have on that video? No offense to her, but it's like 300,000, 400,000 100,000 views. Like, who the fuck cares? Like, her channel could be doing millions of views a month if she just turned on the camera and talk every day about like, hey guys, here's how the trans women are fucking invading our bathrooms and doing that. I think she did a video like 2 months ago or 1 month ago about Matt Walsh's trans documentary. I think that thing almost got more views than her fucking manifesto got. So the idea that she's doing this just for like huge profits or something, it just doesn't, none of it makes sense. Whereas if I look on the other end, people make false claims about me and it pisses me off, and sometimes I have to correct them, because if I don't, that's all I see in my chat constantly. Are people saying like, Destiny, why haven't you commented on this? Why haven't you done that? Sometimes I won't comment for a long time because I'll see if it goes away. I did that with the big naked ape hit piece on me. But then other times it's like, okay, fuck, I need to do a big stream and like address all these things. Otherwise these claims will haunt me for the rest of my life. Like, I think all of that makes sense. I've seen it happen to me personally and to other people. I don't need any like wild conspiracy to explain it. And you haven't even gone over the fucking specific claims of the videos. How can you say that none of them are without merit?
I told you that earlier.
Yeah, I know, but like, I'm just saying that like, it seems like that's a pretty important part of dismissing the document or the video or whatever.
And I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna be open-minded. I'm gonna give it a fair hearing. But I just have a sneaking suspicion about this, because it's like you brought up her channel. It's like her channel's not doing good at all. Look at her views. 23,000 views, 20,000 views, 29,000 views, 34,000 views. In videos from a couple months ago, like, yeah, her Matt Walsh video is at 500,000. The whole truth is at 300. To me, it seems like she came back, she's making content, she's striking out, and she's she's trying to come up with these things that she thinks are going to bring the viewers in. And like, yeah, the Matt Walsh thing was very talked about in the right-wing scene. She did well, and then it was right back to 52,000, 81,000, 43,000. Oh, I know. 3-hour video about all this bullshit drama. Oh, and now I got us a little bit more success. And again, I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to see, and I'll get my fair opinion.
And I understand your perspective on that. And then again, and you're free to disagree, because I am being condescending when I'm saying something, so I understand that. You're free to disagree. But like, if she wanted to make money, or maybe she doesn't trust me, but she would talk to anybody else. If she wanted to make money on the channel, this is not the way to do it. Like, stirring up a bunch of shit like this isn't going to increase the monthly view of her channel. It might even alienate some of her older fans. If she wanted to make money, all she has to do is post a video 2 or 3 times a week about whatever the cultural issues are. Roe v. Wade happens, find some insane fucking people on Twitter, because God knows there's no fucking shortage of them nowadays. You know, put a couple tweets up on your screen, talk about shit and do it. I've even given her that advice when I was like, Lord, your channel, if you want to make more money or whatever, do this. Like, I think I've even said it to her on stream, like, bro, you should just comment on this shit. You'd make so much more money. The idea that like spending like 2 weeks like filming and doing all this shit for a video that's not even gonna crack 500,000 views, it's so mindfucky for me to think that somebody's thinking like, wow, she's definitely doing this for like clout and viewership and all that. If that was true, she'd be attacking more relevant political figures, not just like, it looks to me like it's just a video of like clearing up lies of the past, and everything seems to line up with that thought.
Yeah, but look at her. She's doing that, and she's not getting any engagement. Like, maybe you're talking specifically about streaming, and I would agree, because streaming is more lucrative than uploading. But look at her uploads. 12-minute video. Woke scolds get man fired for filming Ghetto Bodega. 43,000 views. Woke scolds, by the way. Do you remember that? Woke scolds. SJW.
If she can pull 40,000 views on a video and she uploads once a day, one, the channel will probably grow, because people want that type of content right now. It's not because she's not, but look, oh god damn, you don't understand the business side of this, but that's okay. Look at the upload frequency. She's uploading like 3 videos a month, 4 or 5 videos a month maybe. How many did she do last month? I see 3 or 4 videos. And then like what? Like
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 videos in a month. So
yeah, that's not. This is not a good upload rate, right? If you're trying to seriously grow a channel, this isn't it. Like, this isn't. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Like,
the video length is inconsistent. Some of it. No, it's not about being a hard worker, bro. Making money on YouTube is not about being a hard worker. It's just about knowing the formula and then churning out content to do it. You think people like me are hard workers? No, it's just about knowing the formula.
Destiny, you are a hard worker. You say you're not, but you're a live stream soldier. You go live every day with high quality content.
It's not high quality. It's low effort, but high money value. High quality. Look at all the time she wasted doing the American Mirage thing, right? Her last documentary. If she was just trying to make money, that's like literally the worst thing you could do, is like trying to do something like that.
I'm not saying she's not an idiot.
Okay, but it's like, so simultaneous. But now, like, again, you fascists all do do this, Nick. You all do this, okay? You do this thing where your opponents are simultaneously like conniving, mischievous, and they know what they need to do to make money, but then they're also too stupid to do the right thing to make money. Like, well, what is it? Is she like doing a tactical, 3-hour video in order to blow up people and blow her career up? Or is she a dumb fuck that doesn't know what she needs to make money? Like, it's got to be one or the other, right?
No, I don't think there's any sort of opposition between being stupid and being dishonorable. I think she's doing something which is opportunistic, and I also think that she is dumb. I think that, look at her video. This was an opportunistic thing, and it still didn't even get big viewership. Like, because there's nobody like even relevant today in that video. I don't think it is very opportunistic. And I think that's stupid. But that's still more engagement than she gets, except for one video.
It's not more engagement.
She got a video that big.
It's not more engagement though, Nick.
It literally is.
Nick, hold on.
Further, I scroll back because I'm banned from YouTube is 6 months. And there's like one video that's more engagement than that.
You just don't understand, okay?
So what are you saying? Where's the video that got more engagement than this in 6 months?
The one that she did before that. Woke scolds get man fired for filming Ghetto Bodega. That
43,000 views.
Yes.
And she got 356,000 on her tell-all.
Yes.
Okay,
when you're making
10 times more engagement.
No, Nick.
What?
When you're making, hold on. Now I'm giving you free business advice, okay? I'm helping you make money, Nick, okay? When you're trying to create content and you're trying to measure engagement, you have to look at the time spent with a project.
Ratio.
Yeah, that's what matters. So if she spent like I don't know how long she said she spent, months or weeks or whatever, working on this particular thing, right? And she has one video worth 360,000 views. If she would have spent that same time doing 10-minute segments about dumb shit on Twitter, and she would have gotten the same amount of views, right? Or 10 times as many, which is more likely, because that woke skull gets fired for filming Ghetto Bodega. My guess is she did probably 5 to 10 minutes of prep for that. She found a few tweets, read them off, did a video, boom, 43,000 views. If she does 8 videos like that, she's already overcome the whole truth video, and she's consistently putting out content, and she's getting more subscribers by being consistent, and she's playing more into the algorithm more, so she's like getting more like internal support from YouTube or whatever. Like, it would just be a better thing. This is not good engagement given, 1, the size of the channel, the number of subscribers she has, and 2, the amount of time that she invested in the video. I'm just saying from a business point of view, that's...
I understand. Yeah, I understand what you're saying about proportionality and all this, but I think that's just not really relevant. I think that she made this video. You could say she spent more time making this video, but the question is, why did she make the video? You could say that the video didn't achieve a proportionate level of success to the amount of effort
Why do you think I made a big video responding to a naked ape accusation video about me? I think I made it like 1 or 2 years later, I think. Why do you think I made that video? Was I trying to farm Naked Ape after he'd become irrelevant? Or do you think it was because I'd seen people bring up the same claims that he made in his video? His video was called...
I don't know anything about that.
Sure, he made a video called His Destiny is Autism, where they had a whole bunch of wild claims about me fucking kids, laughing my friend kill himself, etc., etc., etc. And I just didn't respond to it because like, oh, okay, fuck it, I probably don't need to say anything. This video is wild. But after a year of seeing the same claims brought up over and over and over and over again, eventually I was like, okay, fuck it, I need to make a video responding to this. But I'm not trying to clout farm off him. He was irrelevant at that point, just like the people she's talking about in her video. It's probably just to set the record straight. Content creators do this shit all the time. I bet you've had streams, Nick, where you've gone on and you've probably called the stream like addressing the lies of XYZ person. I'm sure you've done it before.
Yeah, but I've never retired because I got knocked up and then spent years in retirement and then came back and then sucked at what I did.
You've never retired because you don't have a family. We know that. But if you did have a family, you needed to step away from doing content for that family. Would you do it?
I would never do that because I'm a soldier for the cause, Destiny.
I thought are you a Catholic first or are you a soldier first for the political cause?
I'm a soldier for God. Catholics
No, not a soldier. Hold on. If you're a soldier for God, then go sign up to be a fucking priest, okay? We've got 7 sacraments in the Catholic Church. You can go do holy orders if you want, Nick. That's an opportunity for you to be a soldier for God. From one Catholic to the next, if you're a soldier of God, go do holy orders or else shut the fuck up. That's not your calling, okay?
For God and for America and for the white race and incels, okay?
You're not a soldier for the white race because you're not making more white kids.
That's because I'm telling other people to have white kids because I'm an incel.
Okay, that's fine. But if you're not going to be the person to step up and have a family, you can't really police other people that do have families, right? That doesn't make sense.
You can actually. Yeah, you totally can. Sculptor and sculpture, bro. The clay and the sculptor, Schopenhauer is completely different. Also, I am going to have kids. I plan on having kids, but I'm not going to stop doing what I do once I have kids because I could have 3 kids. And guess what? The white fertility rate is still less than 2. Okay?
Sure, but if there was a woman who was doing politics and then she had kids, would you not expect her to step away from politics for a little bit to take care of her kids? Is that like immoral?
I would expect women to not be in politics at all.
Okay, listen, and that's fine if you want to take that position. But then don't pretend to have like meaningful criticisms otherwise. Just say like, I don't think women should do politics. And then boom, that's your whole criticism. When anything about like any of these people come out, just be like, oh, well, that's dumb. And they go, well, why, Nick? Because women shouldn't be in politics. Don't pretend to have other legitimate criticism otherwise, because it doesn't make any sense.
But she is also being opportunistic here. And that is part of the reason why
but like some of
women tend to be this way.
Some of your criticisms, though, don't make sense. Like, she stepped away from politics for 2 years. Yeah, she had a fucking kid. Like, what? No shit. I don't think that's a crazy thing.
Then why did she come back then if she had a kid? Oh, now her kid is I mean, that was like 3 years ago. Now her kid's 3 years old. Now she doesn't want to do it. Now she could just be, oh, by the way, she also changed all her opinions. She retired after a big hit piece, oh, and her family, and she comes back 3 years later and says, oh, never mind about all that right-wing extremism.
Okay, so
now I'm like a centrist, and now I have all these new opinions.
So firstly, number one, she's absolutely not a centrist, okay? She might not be quite as much a Nazi as you guys are anymore, okay? But she's not a centrist,
But she changed.
She might have a little bit, but guess what, Nick? People change over time. Having kids is a life-changing event. Wow. It happens. I know that's hard for you to imagine at the wise age of 23, but yeah, there are life experiences that might cause your opinions to change a little bit. That's not that fucking wild. But if you think that a new opinion is bad, and also I say this to people on the left that say, Destiny, you've changed, you've been right wing. If you don't like an opinion, Mike, give me the opinion and we can fight about it. Don't just sit here and give me this weak ass, you've changed. Nick, you've changed. You guys told me you used to blame the Jews on 70% of your problems, and now it's 30 to 50%. So you seem like you've changed a little bit, Nick. Okay, who knows? And who knows, maybe in 2 years, maybe the Jews will only be 20% at fault for the issues in society, okay? It's a wild world out there, who knows? But I'm just saying that like this idea that like the woman took 1 or 2 years off when the child is in the most needy phases of their life and then came back, like, yeah, no fucking shit. That's like the most obvious shit in the world to me. I don't think that's that wild of a thing.
I think that this is just like context denial, and I think you're sort of, it's the same thing we talked about like Nikki Haley and Boeing. I think you're just a little bit, you have much more willingness to believe that people are sincere in their intentions, because I think that you are sincere in your intentions. But this person, you know, she's a political actor.